Hi everybody, welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Terry Stiles, again with Jim Hughes.
And Thank you, good to be with you, Terry. This edition of Oxford News This Week, the Village of Oxford declaring a state of emergency. We'll find out about that. Also, Oxford schools score high in COVID cases.
All that and more. The Oxford News begins right now. Due to a surge in Michigan COVID cases, last week the Village of Oxford Council declared a local state of emergency in order to allow the Council, Planning Commission, DDA, and any other village board to meet virtually, at least until May 11th. Per the Village of Oxford manager Joe Madore, at that time the Council will consider whether or not to extend the declaration. Jim?
In other COVID news last week, the Oxford School District reported the highest number of active cases since the beginning of the school year. According to the weekly update, there were 64 active student cases and 5 active staff cases, the highest school amount of cases with 23 students affected. The members of the number of students in quarantine was more than 200. Nearly 140 of those were high school students. It has hit hard at the Oxford High School. Terry.
And COVID continues to influence how we socialize. By a unanimous vote, the Village Council approved a resolution to designate social districts known as common areas in the downtown district. There will be 2 districts. One will be a West District and a second will be an East District. Collectively, they will be known as the Downtown Social District. I think I've said that word too many times. Pursuant to a new Michigan law which allows local governments to designate social common areas, the village resolution will allow drinking of alcoholic beverages from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. 7 days per week within these designated areas, but you will be forbidden to cross M24. The common areas do not include parking lots or Centennial Park. According to the village president, Kelsey Cook, there will be signs set up designating the districts. Before the social distancing districts can take effect, the village needs to apply for a permit from the Michigan Liquor Control Commission. Each business that wants to participate must also apply for a permit, which is around $300 per year. Chief Sowald of the village police says he will be adding bike patrols and cruisers in the district areas and just asks patrons to follow the rules, but he is happy to do whatever he can or they can to help out the businesses. Jim?
Well, school sports have had some setbacks. Parents, coaches, and players of the Oxford Recreational Baseball Association made sure Scripter Park is ready for the season. The ORBA Director Matt Ryan said, additionally, a crew from Madison Heights Base Site Development resurfaced the infields while volunteers did landscaping, roofing, and painting. The dugouts, fence repair, and general weeding. Ryan said it's been years for the fields to look this good. While the league was affected by COVID lockdown, this year is back to normal. Face masks are included and practices have already started. First game starts around Mother's Day. Probably maybe something to do to take the family to a baseball game over there at the park, Terry.
Last week, firefighters credited a commercial alarm system for saving the Dominican Sisters building, which could have gone up in flames. A fire in the basement boiler room tripped the alarm, signaling to the fire department, and firefighters got there quickly and stopped it from spreading to the rest of the structure. Several weeks ago, we reported the Oxford School District is interested in buying the property for the district campus. Jim?
Due to an increase in COVID cases, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services announced there are free pop-up testing sites throughout Oakland County. Go to the MDHHS website to find a rapid testing site at the michigan.gov/ I would imagine coronavirus.org. Check it out. Many new testing sites available for you. Derry.
The Oxford Middle School Booster Club is looking for candidates who would like to help them continue to grow. Nominations are now open for the 2021-2022 school year. Current openings are Treasurer, someone with an accounting background. Secretary, the knowledge of Windows operating system and web maintenance. Marketer director, someone with knowledge of inventory and budgeting. If interested, contact the Oxford Middle School. Jim?
A big thank you going out to the Cub Scout Pack 366. We always used to see them in the Christmas parades and all the other events for cleaning up the Oxford Township Cemetery. Armed with scrub brushes, buckets, and push brooms, the Scouts hit the trail and their family members swept for nearly the 100-year-old cemetery, 2,000 square foot mausoleum, and cleaned some of the headstones. Again, Township Clerk Curtis Wright provided these supplies and personally oversaw the entire operation. A salute to Cub Scout Pack 366. Thank you so very much, Terry.
That's a cool thing for them to do.
You know,
I know that makes them feel good to be able to do
I
that.
always see those guys. You know, it's Christmas when the Cub Scout
Yeah,
366 when they come up in there. They do all the parades. 366. I mean,
Yep.
there's other scouting groups that do that as well.
Right,
But
you always see them.
yeah,
They're consistent, and for them to go to the township and clean that cemetery, that's cool.
I mean, for young people too. I mean, think of your young ones. You know, we're lucky to get them to empty the dishwasher. You know,
Oh,
but
that's really great, and says a lot for their scout leaders.
good job, Club 366. This newscast dedicated to you.
Okay.
Okay. So, anyways, how can they go ahead?
Speaking of this newscast, that's it for this newscast. If you'd like to learn more about these stories or others, you can pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper or follow CJ Carnacchio on the Charter Township of Oxford Facebook page, or you can catch us on Charter Channel 191 or AT&T Channel 99, our website occtv.org, or Facebook and YouTube Oxford Community Television pages. Jim?
Thanks for watching Oxford News this week, where we definitely, with all those avenues, bring your news closer to home.
right.
As I always say, don't forget to wear your face mask. It's also a protective thing for you. Make it a good week. Take care of yourselves. And again, Terry and I'll see you next week. Have a good week, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from Automotive News. In our first story, General Motors plans to roll out a more convenient in-vehicle navigation system this month for select 2018 model year and newer vehicles, the automaker said. On April 30th, Map Plus, which is powered by Mapbox, will be available to about 900,000 vehicles as part of select connected services plans. It's an upgrade from GM's OnStar turn-by-turn navigation tool, though that tool will still be available to drivers. Owners of the 2018 model year and newer vehicles who want the new mapping system can download an over-the-air update. GM and Mapbox will continue to enhance Maps Plus based on feedback and metrics, GM said. We know customers want an easy and convenient in-vehicle experience that improves over time, Santiago Chamorro, GM Vice President of Global Connected Services, said in a statement. We listened to customer feedback and developed a product that works seamlessly with our current infotainment systems and provides a highly personalized experience that will iterate throughout the lifetime of the vehicle, he said. The navigation system is part of customers' connected service plans, which range from $15 and $45 per month, GM said. In one central interface, drivers can start the navigation system with Amazon Alexa, built-in voice control, and access podcast or music through the Maps integrated apps. We know that getting from point A to point B is important, doing things without having to interact with your hand, but rather use your voice. Being able to have access to entertainment is important. The notion of having to jump in and out of experience to do all those tasks, that's what we wanted to solve for in a better blended user base, Michael Shacha, Product Marketing Director for GM Global Connected Services, told Automotive News. GM also said April 12th that marketing and promotional spending will return to pre-pandemic levels this year. What we went through in the pandemic was certainly severe, and we should be moving back to our normalized levels, Chief Marketing Officer Deborah Wall said in an online appearance at a Reuters events conference. And on the recall front, Subaru has issued a pair of recalls affecting more than 800,000 late-model vehicles in the U.S. to repair problems relating to engine control modules and rear stabilizer brackets. The first recall involves 2017 to 2019 Impreza and 2018 to 2019 Crosstrek vehicles to check and potentially update the programming of the vehicle's engine control modules and replace their ignition coils, which could degrade over time, the automaker said. The recall involves an estimated 466,200 vehicles, Subaru of America said. Subaru is also recalling approximately 405,000 2019 Forester and Crosstrek models to examine and retorque the bolts on those vehicles' rear stabilizer bar, which can become loose over time, the automaker said. In both instances, Subaru said it has received no reports of accidents or injuries. The automaker will mail notifications to vehicle owners within 60 days, the company said. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and we'll be right back.
With your Oxford Wildcats athletic update, I'm Teddy Rodquist. The baseball team posted a 4-1 record last week to improve to 10-2 this season. This included the Wildcats winning their first Oakland Activities Association Red Division Series by taking 2 of 3 from the Rochester Adams Islanders. Senior shortstop Ethan Berdua has been one of the team's star players, hitting .416 this season with 9 runs batted in. He is currently on a 4-game hit streak. The Wildcats will begin their second OA Red Series of the season today at 4 p.m. with a doubleheader against the Lake Orion Dragons. The final game of the 3-game set will come on Wednesday at Lake Orion at 4:30. The girls lacrosse team picked up their first win of the season to move to 1-1 by routing the Saginaw Heritage Hawks 15-2 on April 23rd. Junior Leanne Johnson scored 5 goals in the game, and sophomore Natalie Soule added 4. The lacrosse team will next be in action today at 7 against the Rochester Adams Highlanders. And the girls soccer team, which stands at 4-2 and 0-1 in the OAA White, had to cancel their April 22nd game against Detroit Country Day because of coronavirus contact tracing protocols. The team is awaiting the results of further testing today to see if they'll be able to play tomorrow's scheduled game at Berkeley. From the Oxford Community Television News Desk, I'm Teddy Rodquist.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. SpaceX is going to the moon. NASA has selected the company headed by Elon Musk to build a lunar lander to take humans to the moon's surface in 2024. SpaceX beat out 2 other U.S.-based firms with a $2.9 billion contract, and their defense contractor Dynetics and private spaceflight company Blue Origin, which had partnered with several other aerospace industry titans. The 3 contenders were announced in April of 2020, and while NASA was expected to select 2 finalists, as it did with its Commercial Crew program, it has only awarded SpaceX a continuing contract. SpaceX's intended lunar lander is a modified version of Starship, the spacecraft that the company has already begun to build and test in Texas. So far, all 4 of the test flights have ended in the prototype craft dramatically exploding. NASA will not be putting astronauts aboard Starship until SpaceX has proven that it can land the spacecraft without it blowing up, not only on Earth, but also with a test landing on the lunar surface. We are not going to launch humans until we have a successful test, said Lisa Watson-Morgan, the leader of NASA's Human Landing System program, during NASA's announcement. This contract is part of NASA's Artemis program, intended to land humans, including the first woman and the first person of color, on the moon for the first time since the final Apollo mission in 1972. If all goes well, NASA representatives say this could occur as soon as 2024. Can't wait. Well, that's it for Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.